Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Hello, my students. Welcome back to our lessons on our favorite subject, ICT. This is me, Mr. Al-Bakr Hassan. And on today's lesson, we are going to talk about a new topic, which is logical test, or how can we add a condition in Excel. First of all, we need to define what do you mean by a condition. A condition is a statement or a statement that used to make a process. If you have an Excel file, if you have some data which is stored in your Excel workbook and you need to make some process, these processes will not be carried out unless they are verifying a special condition. So because of that condition, it is a statement that used to make a process after verifying a condition. For example, if I want to imagine that you have a file and you stored all the students' ICT marks. Now you need to verify the marks of the students. You need to categorize or to verify who is passing and who fails. In this case, you have to use a condition because you are going to make a check. You are going to make a verify for the ICT mark. According to this, you are going to categorize or select the student if he passed or if he failed. Now, to use the condition in Microsoft Excel, we use the if function so as to add this condition. And when you entered or using the if condition, there is 3 arguments or inputs which you have to specify them. Now, what are these arguments? First of all, when you open or use the function if, it will open a dialog box like this. On this dialog box, you have 3 inputs. This is called, or these are called function arguments. What are they? They are inputs to the function so as to be processed. The first one is the logical test, as you can see here. Now, in the logical test, what I'm going to do, I'm going to write the condition itself. What's my condition? Now, on the second box here, which is called value if true, what I'm going to write here, or what I'm going to do, I'm going to do one important thing, which is the process when the condition is true. Okay, what does that mean? Whenever you use a condition, any condition has only 2 results. It can be true or it can be false. So if it is true and you want to do something, you have to write it in value if true, because here we have to write or to specify the process which we decide to do it when the condition result is true. Now, the second result is false, which means your condition is not verified. In this case, you have to go to the last argument here, which is value if false. In this, this should be value. Sorry for this spelling mistake. Okay, in this case, for value if false, you have to write the process that you want to do it or to make it when the result of your condition is false. What do you mean by the result true? What do you mean by the result false? True means your condition has been verified. Like, for example, if I want to categorize or to specify the students' ICT marks, who passed or who failed, you have to make a check. For example, imagine that the pass mark is 50. So I'm going to check the value of the ICT mark for each student. I have to write this condition on the logical test here. Now, the mark of the student, when I compare it with the mark of passing, it will give me 2 results. For example, if the student's mark is 70, that means 70 is greater than 60 or 50, which means the condition is verified, so it's true. In this case, in value if true, I'm going to try something. Now, if if the mark is 40, for example, 40 is less than the pass or the success mark or my criteria. In this case, the result is going to be false. What I'm going to do, the thing which I want to make it as a process, I should have to write it in value if false, and then after you specify all this, you have to click the button OK. Now let's talk about the logical test here. What do we have in logical test? To write the condition, we have three things which we have to specify. Okay, the logical, let me call it the logical test parts. What are they? What do you mean by the logical test part? The thing which we have to write it here for the logical test. We have to write three things. The first thing is the cell address. This is the cell address which includes or contains the value that I want to check it. For example, I want to check the student's ICT mark, so I have to select the cell address of this mark. And then the logical operator. What are the logical operators? This is the sign which I use it so as to verify my condition. And on this table you can see we have many logical operators. They can be greater than or equal, less than, and you have less than or equal or not equal. According to the logical operator, you can make your or verify your condition. And finally, you have the value criteria. So what's the value criteria? This is the value which I want to compare it with my value in the cell address. In this case, I'm going to get a result of this condition. It can be true or it can be false. Now let's have an example, practical example here. We have metadata for many students. I have their ICT marks and they have my fees. Now for each student first, I want to get the degree. The degree of the students is going to be pass or fail. I'm going to check each student ICT mark. If it is greater than 60, so 60 is going to be my criteria. What I'm going to do, I'm going to compare each ICT mark with 60, because 60 is the value which I make it as a limit for passing ICT. So I have to check or to make a check between the value of the ICT mark for each student with my criteria, which is 60. According to that, if it is greater than 60 or equal it, I'm going to write for each student here pass. If he didn't get his ICT mark, which is less than 60, I'm going to write fail. So how can we write this condition? Step number one, you have to click where you decide to process or to add condition. Step number two, click this button, insert function. Step number three, from the dialog box here, choose if. Step number four, click OK. Now, as you can see, you will find the function and the if function window. And here we have to make the inputs. Now for the logical test here, I have to write my logical test including this: the cell address, which I want to check its value, the logical operator, which I'm going to use it to verify, and then my value criteria. So to do that, the cell address is the cell which involves the student ICT mark. I'm going to calculate first for now, so I have to click here. Or I can write this just the cell address. Then the operator, I want to compare it with 60. It should be equal or greater or larger, so it's greater than or equal like this. And then I have to make my criteria, which is 60. Now this is my condition. Now if the mark is greater than or equal 60, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do something, but you have to write it in value if true. In this case I'm going to write pass. Now if the mark is not greater than 60, it's less than that, I have to go to false. In this case I'm going to write fail. Sometimes you can see that Microsoft Excel is going to make a comparison and then give you the result immediately. After you did that, click OK. Now for the first student I got pass. Why do you think the first student getting pass? Because his mark or his ICT mark is greater than 60. As you can see, this is the location, this is the result, and this is the function contents. Now to get the degree for each student, put the mouse cursor on the autofill point here until the cursor change to black cross. Now double click or click and drag 1, 2. Now we can get for all the students. After you did that, don't forget to save your changes. Go to file, then choose save. So this is simply how can we use a logical test or using a condition. Now let's have another example. Imagine that I have this data of fees for each student and I have discount. Now I want each student who got or whose fees is less than 1,400, I want to give him discount. Otherwise I want to never give him a discount. Okay, for giving a discount or not giving a discount, I'm going to write a message which is with discount and no. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to check the fees for each student here. If it is greater than 300, I'm never going to give him a discount, otherwise he is going to be given a discount. This is just as an example. Okay, to do that, step number 1, click on the cell where you decide to calculate or to write or to use the function if. Step number 2, go to insert function here, the f of x on the formula bar. Step number 3, from the dialog box, click on the if function, then click OK. Now in step number 4, you have to specify, you can click and move your dialog box a little to the right, you have to specify your logical test. Write your condition. First, select the cell which includes the data or the value. I want to compare these fees for the first student, so click it here. Now if this is greater than 1,300, so greater than is the logical operator, 1,300 is the criteria value. In this case there is no discount, so I'm going to write here no. Okay, now if it is not greater, if it is greater than, there is no discount. Okay, if it is not greater than 1,300, there will be a discount, so click here, have discount like this. Now after you finish, has discount. Now click OK. According to the first student, there will be a discount. Why is that? Let me increase the column here or double click. Now for the first student, the fees in 1,200, which is not greater than 1,300. That means there will be a discount. Now to calculate for all, first you make sure that your cursor on the calculator cell, and you can see the formula bar, the contents has been displayed. Put the mouse cursor on the autofill point, double click or click and drag like this. Now you did it for all, and now save your change. You can see for the rest of the students there is no discount because their fees is greater. This is simply how can we use a logical test in Microsoft Excel. Thank you very much. See you next class, inshallah.